time. I expect them to come out and give OG a good match at the very least.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, here on the main stage, I believe we've only had 2-0s so far, if I'm not mistaken, right? I don't think a single series has gone 3 games. I think in this series, that is definitely a possibility that we go the distance. Because between these two teams, as you said, I think... So first of all, there's been opportunities for Gaimin Gladiators to learn how to adapt to OG during this tournament, but I think it's also probably fair to say that neither team has looked their best, right?
That's true.
OG has had a very dominant year in a lot of other tournaments, but here they kind of barely scraped by and got into the upper bracket, I believe in 4th place in their group, and Gaimin Gladiators obviously starting in lowers and getting that win against Fnatic yesterday.
I mean, that's what happens when you win every tournament. They nerf your heroes.
Get nerfed. Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about how it's kind of funny to see how, because Amar isn't absolutely trashing, it feels like he's underperforming. Because we're just used to seeing Amar just completely take over games. And a lot of the heroes that he has been doing it on, obviously because OG have been winning these tournaments and it's been meta-defining, some of his strategies have been nerfed. We've seen the Razor, we've seen the Timber get nerfed quite a bit recently, but still, Gaimin Gladiators banned them both. They just have so much respect for this guy and what he brings to the team that they'd rather play against some of the heavy meta stuff than Amar's specialty heroes. Speaking of which, he's playing the Slardar this game, so this is, in my opinion, one of his absolute best. I was looking at the stats last night for a number of heroes played in OG, and he easily has the fewest together with Chu, but he was a stand-in for 1 tournament.
Sure. Oh, Dyrachyo might be in some trouble here. Getting blocked a bit by the illusions of Taiga. And it looks like he'll be okay, but takes heavy damage here at the beginning of the game. I'll try to walk away.
Something worth pointing out about the way OG approached this draft as well was Dyrachyo actually taking a lot of damage here. We'll get a couple of raises in if he wants to, just 1 though. Opening the face with Naga when you have the absolute last pick of the draft does give you that flexibility option where you can switch it over to support. And what OG essentially accomplished was that they kind of forced Gaimin Gladiators' hand to at least pick some sort of solution to carry Naga. And then when they don't like the matchup enough, they just swap it over to position 4 with this minus armor strategy they have. I think OG's lineup in itself has incredibly much, I don't know if you want to call it internal synergy, like the way the heroes play off each other. You have so much physical damage with minus armor, alacrity, whereas Gaimin Gladiators' strategy is, as the panel pointed out, very much early heavy. I think it's super important for them that the lanes go well, but they are on a lot of comfort. And to me, maybe the unsung hero. Everybody's talking about Marcy, right? You know, it's like Marcy, Enigma. I think Tiny is still undervalued in this tournament. I think this hero is incredible right now, and they will grab that for Boom in this game, and he's one of the very best.
Yep, Dyrachyo still sitting on a relatively low HP, but no way to really catch up to him right now. The raise way off here from Dyrachyo. Maybe a little nerves here on the stage. I mean, one thing we should mention about Gaimin Gladiators, they started out the year extremely well. I can't remember the name of that. It was the regional finals or whatever it was called. They did really well. And then the second major they placed really well. And it feels like since then, they've basically, when they qualified for TI, I don't know if they've dropped off or teams have just figured them out a little bit better because they just haven't looked quite the same since that point.
Yeah, I think this tournament has had plenty of surprises, right? And I think something worth keeping in mind is looking good in groups does not necessarily translate to the main stage, right? We've had examples this year, probably the most glaring one, with EG winning their group and then losing 4 games back-to-back on the main stage. It's a thing, you know? Like, you can have really good days, you can have bad days. The days you want to peak is on the main stage. And I think something that's really good for Gaimin Gladiators in general is that, oh, hang on.
Nice cookie. He's going to close the gap here for Yuragi to right-click Tofu. Pops that Fairy Fire, but the Jingu is up, and First Blood goes to Yuragi. Gets a little bit of HP back thanks to the Boundless Strike Jingu combo. But OG first on the board.
And this is a very good lane matchup for Monkey King, one of the most formidable laners against the Underlord. So getting a little bit of a head start down.
Another Curry? No way.
Very good. Oh, he is.
He's faster. Yeah.
He'll
One
get
more will do
my
it.
God, that is...
I think he didn't get Dyrachyo's Curry the first time, right? It was somebody else's, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was Celery's. I mean, this is really bad news for Dyrachyo. That was his salve as well as Wraithband, so a lot of laning presence just out the window here for him. Yeah. Still has the 2 mangoes to work with, so I would say this should be a Shadow Fiend favored lane. Like, Slardar is a melee hero who has no ranged way of farming creeps, so every time you want to go and get a last hit, you're exposing yourself to getting raised comboed. But so far, so good for Amar, right? He's 13-3 against the basically exact same CS scoreline for the Shadow Fiend. And that is while playing with support Naga, who honestly doesn't really offer that much for a Slardar most of the time, right?
Offers courier killing potential apparently. You can see another cookie setup kill onto Tofu. Jingu with the scatter blast. And second kill in this lane for Yuragi and OG overall, who, I mean, like you said, even in this off lane, for Amar, doing quite well to start this game. He's going to take a raise, though. Gets a crush off, but no one in the vicinity. So he'll have to back away as the Tango's slowly bringing him back up to a healthy amount.
I gotta say, man, I don't want to play Silencer Underlord lane in this game. I feel like Silencer's job is so difficult. You need to offer some sort of presence for the Underlord, because if you don't, he just gets bullied out of the lane by the Monkey King snap. But if you come even remotely close, you get Boundless struck into a cookie and you just die, right? So it's just really, really difficult, and it goes to show how powerful this pick from OG was. I was wondering if Gaimin Gladiators were actually going to opt to go for some sort of tri-lane to try to solve this laning problem, because they're one of the teams that likes to do that. But the issue is, I don't think Underlord enjoys either side lane. Otherwise, we'd be playing against Slardar, which is also not great. So you kind of had to choose the lesser evil here, and unfortunately both of them, for that guy, are not the best. Ace is getting great farm though, gotta say. 23-7 is very impressive against this lane, but it has cost a lot of potential for Tofu's ability to scale somewhat in this game on the Silencer.
Right. How important is it for Ace to be kind of active on the like, how fast do you actually get active on this hero with the Fiend's Gate? Because I can look at the OG lineup. You've mentioned the minus armor. They have amazing setup for Sunstrike in various ways.
Yep.
Like, their lineup makes sense. But from Gaimin Gladiators, it feels like there's some maneuverability here.
I think there's some interesting plays with a... Oh, hang on, bottom lane.
Yeah,
a lot of damage.
Storm comes out, but that's the stun onto Ace. And Yuragi not going to go any further here.
I saw the glyph come out there. I think maybe Gaimin Gladiators were expecting Yuragi.
Oh, the Hurricane onto Amar, but he gets the crush off and is A-okay. Taiga, he's going to get the ensnare. A little bit extra damage to Celery, but Amar not in range to get a stun off.
How many courier kills we're going to have this game? Is that 3?
Yeah, that was Ace taking out the opposing courier here.
Finally, Gaimin Gladiators get on the board on that account.
Indeed. We should have a courier death count somewhere. Visible at all times.
How about a courier kill cam? That's fully zoomed in.
That sounds kind of, I don't know, that sounds kind of violent, honestly.
Oh, but you don't mind when the heroes die, right?
Yeah,
sure, yeah, but the couriers, oh, let's
yeah, but the
protect them.
skill of a courier is just on another level.
Have you seen the couriers? A lot of them don't really... Okay, I mean, there's kind of a... Okay, I take that back. That's a really cute dog with a hot dog in the dire base. All right?
Could be Onion.
could be anyone.
Scatterblast onto Ace.
Amar's in trouble too.
The cookie setup. Boundless strike. Sunstrike's coming as well. And Ace, one right click away, and Yuragi takes it. On the other side, Amar did fall to Dyrachyo, and Celery able to get out, so no trade at the top lane, but a trade basically globally for both respective position 3s. Taiga, Dyrachyo, another raise, but not quite enough to finish the job.
Pinecone?
The Pinecone is very scary.
It's too slow.
Very slow, as you would expect from an inanimate object.
Oh, it's still alive. It
be able to juke it successfully.
If it got to, what's it called again, the ability it has? You know this.
Seed Shot.
Oh, you actually knew.
I mean, that one's the dumbest name in the game, probably.
I forgot. It's not something you... Not a very called out ability.
True. Mid lane is one lane we haven't really talked about too much, with BZM on the Invoker sitting on 37 and 11, and then 31 and 12 on the other side for Boom on the Tiny, who is now smoked. So if they can, I mean, with the TP coming into the top lane, we'll see if they can punish this a little bit.
Yep. This should be a good rotation. If they kill Amar again, they actually stifle his game
run
a lot
into
here.
Taiga instead. They won't be as happy with this potential trade. And Taiga will be the sacrifice for OG, which again, they're going to be relatively happy. Although he did TP there. He was the one that TP'd, so
he did, but it's a
long walk.
It's a much smaller prize to claim. And in the meantime,
lane cookie, so much setup for this Sunstrike, and Yuragi still ends up with the kill himself. And he is off to the races, 4-0 to start the game. All 4 kills.
And you can see what item build Ace has gone for to try to combat this, right? He's gone Phase Boots and Lace on the Underlord, but even then, the stuns into Sunstrike just too much. Doesn't have too much in the way of tankiness. Obviously, you have a bit of armor, but he now even buys a fluffy hat, right? He's just really trying to get all the small value items that he can to try to stay alive down here. want to point out, by the way, when we see this Invoker pick, I think OG, correct me if I'm wrong, they basically never play Wex, right? I'm like trying to think to myself about the rate of going these builds on this hero, and even in the patch where everyone was playing Quas Wex Invoker, this guy was the one player who just basically never deviated. BZM plays an incredible Exort Invoker, and it also goes very much in line with OG's kind of ideology in the patch, right, where they want all 3 cores to scale. So where other Invokers would go Quas Wex, Rush Urn, maybe Vessel into Midas, BZM, he goes Brown Boots Midas, Exort, and he farms. And he joins fights globally with Sunstrike, and then eventually he carries the game from mid. So quite concerning for Gaimin Gladiators, I have to say. It's not like this is a monumental lead by any means, the 1K, but BZM's having a great game, Uragi's having a great game, and arguably their lineup just scales so incredibly well with minus armor on Radiant against Roche as well.
Is Amara going for a Midas as well? Yeah, looks like that is also the case.
Yeah, well,
that's his catch-up mechanic, I suppose, because he's kind of pushed out of lane to a degree. But we'll see if it ends up being a little... I mean, obviously, I would assume Gaimin Gladiators, their response would try to maybe push a little faster, group up a little more before that can really truly come online.
It's just the most Amar thing ever, right? Like, a lot of other players, it's like, oh, my other 2 cores are doing really great. I'm gonna buy utility items on my starter, and they will carry the game. Amar is like, you guys are, oh well, BZM, you are level 30 on Invoker, so that's okay, but Uragi, you're only gold tier Monkey King. I don't trust you. I will get the farm. Oh, nice sidestep.
Yeah, but he's going to take a full Wukong's command, trying to walk on the outskirts with the Boundless Strike into the Sunstrike again. Not even needed. Enough damage again for OG. And you talked about, I mean, again, not to harp on this more and more, but the Exort Invoker, I feel like it works every time. Every hero on your lineup has a stunner root.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's in the lane. You have a setup.
It feels like we might later on in the tournament, if it goes well for OG, or even later in this series as well, we might see the Invoker Nyx combo, right? This is a classic. Nyx has been very popular this tournament. We saw Secret the other day win 2 games with Nyx Dawnbreaker, which also was that very nice global presence. You would get the stuns into the Dawn ult. Invoker Sunstrike, similar logic. And we know for a fact that Taiga likes Nyx, and he plays a really good one, so it could definitely be something OG could look for in their later games.
OG. Prowse here in the top lane. Going to force Gaimin Gladiators out to be able to take the tier 1 tower.
BZM is getting so much done mid. I mean, Dyrachyo finally now will take out this siege creep, but mid tower down to 200 health, OG taking top tower, so effectively more or less grabbing 2 tier 1s at the 11-minute mark at the same time against an Ench lineup. That feels so good, as a wise man once said.
Yeah, I didn't even get that at first.
It wasn't on purpose. Then when I said it, I was like, oh no, here we go again.
Well, Boom is 1,500 into his Blink Dagger, and I think that is going to be the crucial point for Gaimin Gladiators. They have to get stuff done with that, especially with the 2 Midases, which Amar...
Oh, but his might get delayed here, Uragi.
Well, we have the initiation onto the Tiny now. Good global. The global silence to force OG back. And of course the TP as well from Gaimin. And looks like there's not going to be any casualties here.
Yeah, there's almost perfect overlap between the cooldowns of these 2 spells. So Snapfire's ulti is 120 and Silencer's global silence is 130. So effectively, if you trade them off, you need to make a perfectly timed move with your next Snapfire ult to not have the silence available again. Seems like it was a big part of why Gaimin did pick this hero in this game.
Dyrachyo, Requiem, there it is. Do they have the raise? Yep, and Ace is here as well.
Huge
Big kill for Gaimin Gladiators off of the Invis rune from Dyrachyo. But it's going to get punished to a degree. Ace will fall.
Nothing comes for free. Well, for the first time in the game, now a minor gold lead for Gaimin Gladiators, which... No, usually you would look at this with the perspective of, all right, that's good, let's keep it up. But we know this team, we know how they play. A lot of the games that they win, or at least this year that they've won with a lineup like this right now, the gold lead would be 2K, 3K. And you are playing against a lineup that's running multiple Midases, so you do need to keep that pressure going so that they don't just naturally find more gold on the map that you can't because it doesn't exist.
Right. So, well, Boom has his Blink Dagger. Yep. See how fast they want to expose it, if you will.
I'd love to see, if possible, for Gaimin Gladiators to, once they have global silence, try to make a smoke rotation with this tiny dagger, kill the Invoker mid, and look to pressure that tower with any strong Enchantress creep. It's a lot of things to have happen at once when you've already lost your top and mid tower, but I think you kind of need to get creative and start making invasive moves around the mid area, because otherwise OG are controlling what we used to call the triangle area. I don't know if we really should anymore because there's no third camp, but everybody knows it as that. But OG really want that area all the time because they are playing this greedy style with their Midas, and just Amar is also going and farming Ancients a lot of the time. So opening up the mid tower would give them more avenues to...
If you want to extend it a bit, and just the secret shop icon is the triangle.
That's true.
Point.
That's actually true on both sides. I like that.
Thank you, Cinderin.
You're very smart.
Thank you, Cinder.
Once in a blue moon.
Well, the smoke gank didn't end up resulting in a kill, at least not yet, although Yuragi is hunting. Celery inside the tree line here. There's the vision. Celery is mega dead. But again, just the support for Gaimin. Don't know if the Blink Dagger... What are they waiting for? Something specific? Are they waiting for the global silence to come back for Boom to reveal this Blink Dagger officially?
Not sure. It's possible that they were looking for a move, they didn't find the angle, and then OG were first to pounce, and they were like, all right, you know, the heroes that we were trying to gank, we didn't find the catch, we're just back to farming. Like, you got to be efficient about it, right? If your move fails, make sure you get something done. But yeah, that was very unsuccessful here from Gaimin. Fortunately for them, they only lost Celery, of course. Rather unusual in a monkey diet, Celery, but he was hungry enough that he opted for that.
Probably not.
I can tell you from experience that if you have to be really hungry to eat celery, so he must have been starving after that death.
Well said. Agreed. Vegetables.
Nothing wrong with vegetables.
Yep, vegetables.
Just celery.
Dyrachyo, what is he working on right now? He has the Mask of Madness and the Dragon Lance.
Yep.
See him farming Ancients, and is an Ogre Club into the BKB, so things have kind of slowed down, which we talked about against the Midas is maybe not the best of moves, but we'll see how it works out for Gaimin. Echo Saber there for Yuragi as he's working towards his BKB as well. And obviously, from Amar's perspective, the Midas has been online for a decent amount of time, which now he finishes treads.
We will ensnare into Sunstrike into all my spells into Artyom coming, or Invoker. I have wards. We will ensnare into Sunstrike into all my spells into Artyom coming, or Invoker.
Oh, quickly back to live as Ace is dead, so we didn't get to see that gank in its full juicy perspective, Cinderin, but they did call what they were going to do, and they were successful.
Yeah, spoiler, it was a Sunstrike kill. Well, Invoker didn't get the last hit, but he was true as usual. I was about to say before we saw this, I mean, it still rings true, right? I think the most impressive thing about Gaimin Gladiators this game is how much farm Ace has. He has 141 CS, he's topping the charts, and that was after laning against Monkey King Snapfire. Ace does a really good job in general for this team at finding a lot of farm. I think, you know, I think that was part of the reason that Gaimin Gladiators were doing so well earlier in the year was when they were running these tri-lanes with Dyrachyo, they still, when they put Ace in the safe lane, he managed to just find a lot of last hits on the map in the jungle, just be very effective even with a bad start. And that's exactly the case here as well. He's 1-4, but his CS is very impressive. Boom.
Oh, Boom goes in, gets the Avatos, but it's on a support Naga. He gets Hurricane, but there's the Song. Taking some damage from the Arcane Curse. He's just going to TP out in the midst of the Song as the Tier 1 tower will drop in favor of Gaimin.
It's still, this is what Gaimin needed, right? They need to open that mid tower. So they do finally make this move and are successful with it. I like the choice there of holding the global. They could have killed the Naga if they wanted to, but they think the global silence is too important in order for them to go for their next objective, which is right here. And this goes very, very fast, actually. OG.
Yeah, they have to be careful. The Mortimer Kisses are online. If OG have an idea this is happening, the Sunstrike is going to reveal a little bit, but Avatos back into the pit. Amar just dead. Just like that as the Mortimer's Kiss is coming out into Dyrachyo, but the global silence counter that the panel talked about. And this is looking like a potential free Roche for Gaimin now.
Yeah, OG just giving it up. They're not interested. They don't have their Slardar. They can't get in there.
Yep, and the zoning Requiem as Boom secures the Aegis for himself.
Interesting they didn't give it to the Shadow Fiend. I really thought you were going to put that one on Dyrachyo. I feel like this hero is often very vulnerable and gets a lot of value out of having the Aegis because you don't have to pop BKB in your first life when you get jumped. Picking ult.
Yeah, Boundless Strike into the Wukong. Sunstrike's coming, but he is okay. So he's trying to bait some TPs potentially, but nothing actually came.
He does have 15 armor, so Wraith Pact wasn't cooldown. Oh, he's actually going for the wave. Is Yuragi going to try him again here? No. Not quite. But yeah, I love that move from Gaimin Gladiators. Really good stuff. They not only do they get the Aegis, but keep in mind this Radiant lineup is incredibly good at killing Roche. So the fact that you take it away from them is almost as valuable as getting it yourself. Russia would have loved to have it now.
The Aegis could have been on him, but instead would have died twice in this scenario, I would assume. Although, you can see Gaimin starting to pincer in a bit. The Abatos onto 3, Misha very low, nice Firestorm from Ace as Yuragi kind of separated from his team, attempting to TP out, and he will be able to TP successfully, just barely out. The Aegis was consumed.
Yeah, that's pretty good for OG. You're happy with that. You find the Shadow Fiend and you get the Aegis on the follow-up fight. All you lost was your position 5. That's great. Very, very good TP there out from Yuragi, obviously counting the stuns, knowing there's nothing left. The only cancels that they have are Requiem, which was dead, and then Underlord Root, as well as the Tiny combo that was used immediately in the beginning, so good call there.
And OG with the 1K lead at the moment. But it does, again, I know that OG are kind of the favorites going into this series, but with these Midas pickups, I feel like the fact that it slowed down a decent amount, they've kind of nullified the Roche that Gaimin was able to claim for themselves. It feels like it's OG's momentum right now to a degree, despite that Roche.
This aggressive move from OG could actually fail horribly. They don't know that they're visible under the ward.
And the toss, Requiem to follow. Yuragi is mega dead, and here comes Ace with the Fiend's Gate. Misha's going to be the second kill, so nice pickups for Gaimin.
What a sick ward. Like, I totally understand OG don't expect there to be vision there minute 19 around their own triangle there, but that paid massive dividends. That's a huge kill on the Monkey King. They get a little bit of a bonus there. And obviously what OG were hoping for here was for the Shadow Fiend to go and farm the Ancients so that they could get that kill with Monkey Snap plus the Sunstrike. But Gaimin Gladiators one step ahead. They knew it was coming, and they set the trap. And that's going to result in a BKB now picked up on Duracho, and he's immediately eyeing up that Aghanim Shard. It feels like it's different how people progress from this point on SF. We've seen some people get the Shard, we've seen some people go straight Butterfly, we've seen people go Daedalus in this slot as well, Scotty, there's plenty of options for what you can do on SF. I think the Shard is nice though, for how the game is going right now. You want the extra, I mean, even just the extra little bit of fear is actually very helpful.
Why are you laughing? Isn't that the best part? It's so good.
I mean, it's half a second, right?
He gets initiated on by Amar, who pops his newly picked up BKB, continuing to bash away as the Wraith Pact is placed. The Global Silence is not really going to dissuade OG from continuing any further. And Taiga, he's going to get the backup of the rest of his team now. Now the focus is entirely on Ace, and the Mortimer's Kisses are going to be enough. Double kill for BZM off the back foot of this. 3 dead for Gaimin as they are punished severely for entering OG's jungle.
And Global Silence there was expended, which means Misha could finally get to play a big part of his hero, which is always fun when you get to use your ultimate ability.
I have a mechanics question for you.
Yes?
For the Shadow Fiend, he has Specialist Array. How does that work if you get Shard and you're critting?
Pretty sure it only works in your main attack.
Okay.
I think it follows the same rules. I believe when this item came out, it actually synergized with Psyblades, but I think that got changed pretty quickly because you were Psyblading on all 3 projectiles, and that was kind of insane, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I don't think any of the secondary attacks carry anything at all. No attack modifiers, no crits.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's still nice on SF because you hit really hard and you like its stats, so it is a good neutral item on him. I wonder if SFs, if they could choose, if they would prefer this over Grove Bow. I don't think they would. I think the SFs would rather have that still. The attack range and the magic damage increase is super nice on this hero.
As he's actually opting not to go for the Shard this time, so it will be a Daedalus.
Oh, he did change. Did he change his mind? He has the Shard, right? It's coming out. No, it's not. He went Chrysalis, you're right. So he did change his mind. Yeah. I heard you laughing at the half-second fear. It's like, okay.
You were the one laughing. I like that. That's the reason I think it's good. Last year we were actually dumping on this Shard. Then they added the fear, and I think that makes a big difference.
It is definitely better now.
So we have a smoke now from OG as they enter the triangle of Gaimin Gladiators. They're not
Ward is still there, but this time around, obviously not visible.
Yep, it's actually going to pop here, but they don't know that Boom is in the trees. So it looks like nothing will come of this other than potential wards here. Well, now they're heading towards the bottom lane.
Gaimin just showed.
Radiant's bottom
I
tower
think
is
they
under
showed on
attack.
this Naga illusion. At least one of their heroes did. They see Ace.
TP out. Ace might be the only one caught out, but the TPs are coming to the tier 2. He's caught inside the ice wall. And it's going to force some BKBs out of BZM, so not too bad from Gaimin.
Yeah, there was no backup nearby, and Amar still doesn't have the dagger. So it's a nice setup from BZM. Landed the spells pretty much perfectly. Tornado, EMP, and ice wall and into the snap, but they didn't have any follow-up, and Ace is just way too tanky for him to deal with on his own.
Is the 4K lead mostly Midas related, you say? How much? I don't even know how to equate that at this point.
It's hard to say. I don't think it's mostly Midas. It's obviously starting to matter, but you also do have a 404 Invoker with 225 CS, right? So BZM is having an outstanding game here. I think that's, that's a really large part of the net worth difference. It's actually his difference down to the Shadow Fiend, who is playing a different role,
Dire's
is the net
bottom
worth lead.
tower is under attack.
And yeah, speaking of the Invoker, relatively quiet game from Boom. I feel like when this guy plays Tiny, he has a tendency of really taking over games and popping off on these Tinies, Emperor Spirits. The spirits that are very kill hungry are his best. Hasn't really found many opportunities.
Yeah, it felt like when he picked up the Blink Dagger, there was like a 6-minute period where they were just farming still.
Yeah, they finally found those 2 kills in their own triangle, right? That he was involved in. If he didn't find those, he would have had 3 total kills to his name in at 25 on Tiny. That's very low for sure. And it feels like, so in this game state, I think OG are so comfortable, which is the biggest concern really for Gaimin Gladiators, is that it's got to be in the back of your mind that OG want this.
Yeah.
They want the game to stall out and nothing to happen. They will smoke themselves now with a better
Radiant
map positioning perhaps, but like they don't have to make a lot of moves as long as the lanes are in the right position. They feel very comfortable with just scaling up.
Yep, Celery tanking the gank. Deleted. Or Alacrity, and yeah, pretty much any hero would die there, so Gaimin would be happy that it is Celery.
Yeah, with Alacrity, Treads, and Midas, you might almost have regular attack speed against Enchantress. Very good.
Maybe that's part of the reason for going it. He has the damage from his buddy in the mid lane.
I think you were going to see most Alacrities probably go in the Monkey King, right? But I mean, that's another nice thing about their lineup. Both heroes have the guaranteed procs from getting multiple attacks in, right? And you combo that with an attack speed hero. Very nice synergy again.
Yep, next Roche, 35 seconds away, and I think that's gonna Gaimin have to get that one again. Obviously, the first time they got it, like you said, it was kind of taking it away from OG more than anything, but felt like they didn't really use it in any like meaningful way.
Dire's bottom tower is under
That's BZM. Not going to get gone on here by Boom, who is working on the Aghanim Scepter.
This is actually really good timing for Duracho, so we're only 10 away from Big Bad Stone Man. And they do have a DD on SF. Good vision here from OG, though.
Mortimer's Kisses going to reveal Celery here. Taking heavy damage, has the heal going, though. You can tell Amar, the blink is canceled thanks to the Arcane Curse. And Yuragi now resetting. A little bit of an awkward mini engagement here between the two teams as they know that Roche could be up.
Once again, great play from Tofu to not global there. It's very important that you have the right read. I think Misha was maybe hoping to bait it out, because if he forces the global there, OG are very strong to contest Roche. But with that still in their arsenal, they have ways of solving the BKB Invoker going in, the BKB Monkey King. It's a really big part of OG's team fight that Monkey gets his ult off. And if they see him at any point and he has to pop BKB defensively before he ults, they just global him out when he starts channeling the ult. And it gives them a lot more space and time in the fight for SF and the Tiny to deliver. Yeah, gonna see this is a really, really important moment. OG had the vision in the pit there. The Naga illusion as well as a Forge Spirit. Roche are pushing out mid lane with raises.
Yep, as Roche is already approaching the half HP mark. Let's see if Gaimin can try to contest this, because this could be a turning point for them in this game, no doubt about it. They're going to run right into Misha, as Roche is abandoned temporarily, but Ace is caught out. Yuragi gets off his ultimate, but he's taking heavy damage, has to pop the BKB, and now everybody tries to reset as the global silence comes in. Kind of resets this fight to a degree as Boom gets the Avatos onto Misha. It's going to be close on this kill. Finally finds it. That's just the first death in this engagement. As you can see, Amar going to town on the BKB SF through the song. And he's going to find that kill relatively easily, but he's going to be traded as a double kill for Celery of all heroes. And it turns into a 3 for 2. BZM has to ghost walk away. Yuragi's still fine and healthy. As the rest of Gaimin might have to reset a bit as 2 cores have died. And really the trade is for 2 supports as BZM nets the double kill thanks to that Sunstrike. And with that, Gaimin have to abandon this for the time being. You can see that Roche still pretty healthy, so it's not going to be an instant take for either team.
I wonder this fight that we just had break out there where Ace got effectively forced down to 20% before he got out the Monkey King ult. I wonder what that fight would have looked like if they globaled the Monkey ult. So we see it here, right? Uragi jumps in and channels the ult there. If you global, he's just going to pop BKB and ult again, right? So I guess there was just no way out of this, but it is a really important thing for OG in this fight that Ace is that low. If Underlord has a little bit more presence, he can offer more protection here for the Shadow Fiend by playing more aggressively in the fight, but he had to back off, and that gave Amar the angle to just go in straight away and just isolate Dyrachyo out of the fight. And Shadow Fiend is that big damage dealer for Gaimin. Oh, we're back to live here.
Yep. We have mass TPs onto the outpost as the Mortimer's Kiss is coming, but not that much damage applied. As you can see, inside the pit, Roche still pretty healthy, but OG gonna try to start taking it now. Ace gets the Firestorm off, and here comes the tree volley from Boom, but not a whole lot of damage applied, mostly to Roche himself, as it looks like. Silence is gonna get initiated, but Tofu gets the 4-step off just in time as BZM has to re-engage, has to reset completely as BZM is taking huge physical damage from Dyrachyo. And both teams, neither have found a kill in this engagement, but Gaimin feeling pretty nice to go inside this pit, at least at the moment. Man, such a tense moment here, knowing that this could be deciding the game potentially in the second Roche.
Yeah, Dyrachyo could get the shard for free.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Very important.
Imagine that.
Yeah, they're starting to poke Roche a bit.
There is Song of the Siren. This is not safe.
Yeah. No Mortimer's Kisses at the moment, though. Here comes the Tornado. It's going to clip Dyrachyo, and of course they have the spam of the illusions to give the vision here as Roche just continually taking these tickles time and time again. Smoke out from OG. Requiem trying to buy some time to be able to take the second Roche, and they get it. Dyrachyo with the Aegis and the Shard.
Did he just last him with Sunstrike?
Looks like they actually want to try to fight this. Is OG able to get the beautiful meteor onto several heroes, but Tofu and company able to maneuver onto the other side of the pit. They haven't lost anybody here. Who? Did they get the Roche kill? No. Oh, you're right. Dyrachyo snatched the Aegis, so...
I think BZM Sunstruck the Roche.
Either that or an illusion from Naga, potentially.
I think it was Sunstrike.
Wow.
That's
I mean, either way, the Aegis and Shard are far more important at this stage than the gold
absolutely.
that you
And they get the buyback on the snap, which is probably the least important out of all those four things.
All right, Requiem, yeah, Sunstrike, you're right. Oh my God, what are the chances? That's
50%.
Okay, well, thanks. Quick robot math there.
Yeah.
62.5% accuracy on the Sunstrikes, not too shabby. When every hero has a stun, basically, makes it a little easier.
Yeah, so depending on your perspective, maybe that's bad.
Maybe that's horrible, yeah.
Wow, you've missed 6 in this game?
Did Dyrachyo eat the Shard himself? Yeah, I think so.
Do you eat it?
Of course, consume. That's the same as eating in my book.
Yeah, okay. We'll take that.
Okay. So Dyrachyo with the Aegis for another 4 minutes.
This is actually a really strong time for Gaimin Gladiators in 1 minute. Dyrachyo's going to pick up the Daedalus at that point with that fresh free shard and the Aegis. I think Gaimin Gladiators are finally going to start looking at some tier 2 towers and taking more control of the map. Maybe they will even do it before the Daedalus, but it just feels awkward to do it right now. You're 300 gold away, but maybe OG aren't interested in defending bottom anyway, in which case, you know, power to you. You can, one of the luxuries of having this Underlord is that you can send him top lane and he can connect with your team bottom with Fiend's Gate, kind of Dawnbreaker-esque gameplay that this hero can pull off. So they're not even too worried about ending up trading towers, but they should be worried about Ace's life potentially, trying to bait out a BKB here. Now he doesn't have the mana for it.
Yeah, TPs are coming, but he's done.
Amar.
TPs matter not. Wukong's command use from Uragi, I guess that's going to be used to ward off the rest of Gaimin that were potentially coming, and they'll take the tier 2.
It's a celebratory arena for the tower.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, that's not where he wanted to get forced by Celery, I think, but it's okay.
I mean, OG have done a pretty damn good job of, I mean, they've been giving up the Aegises, but it feels like they're the ones with the Aegises in a lot of ways. Because Gaimin haven't really been able to capitalize either time.
They have 2 of them.
Shut up.
Okay.
Oh, Assault Cuirass now on Amar. And the physical damage continues to be ridiculous from the side of OG. But it feels like both times that Gaimin have had the Aegis, the lead has grown a bit for OG in some way.
Well, now we can start talking Midas, because now it's been quite a while, right?
Yeah.
Both Invoker and Slardar, I would guess, have used it about 10 times each, perhaps. So that will obviously start really mattering and racking up. And Amar, as a result, also with the extra experience, has now reached level 20. So that's the -4 Corrosive Haze armor talent. Now down to -24 total on that spell. Do you ever buy a shard on this hero at this point? Like, it feels like a pretty
good
valuable purchase, right?
Yeah.
Especially considering what heroes you're playing with. A lot of the time, Slardar wants to get it for free from the Roche, but Amar is prioritizing, for the time being at least, going for a Nullifier to prevent the Force Staffs, which is honestly the main thing keeping him from just flat out killing heroes on his own, right? Is that they're pushing them away with the Eng Force Staff, with the Shadow Fiend Pike. And a Force Staff and Silencer too, right? They have 3 of them. So that Nullifier will be very valuable.
Well, Gaimin with the Aegis, grouping up top lane. They get the tier 1, looking for the tier 2 next, but it's going to be a trade again as OG.
Yep.
Despite not having the Roche goodies, are A-okay with this trade.
All right, it's forcing time.
Indeed.
Here we go.
Less than a minute left on the Aegis, so see how OG want to try to approach this.
Do they have any offensive Force Staffs?
Boundless Strike, and look at the damage! The Aegis is just gone like that. Now the Wukong's command into the Meteor, and Dyrachyo dies a second time in the blink of an eye. Ace has to BKB Fiend's Gate away, and the rest of Gaimin have to ditch. Celery doesn't have that opportunity, and it looks like Tofu's TP gets canceled as well, so 3 dead as OG just on another level here. Now with a 12K lead.
Yeah, I was looking if there was a potential offensive Force Staff play there onto the Shadow Fiend, because he was just standing there hitting the tower. They don't have any Force Staffs, they don't need them. They literally just kill him instantly. Obviously, Gaimin Gladiators, they have 1 save, which is Global Sounds, but doesn't really work for situations like that. Like, you're gonna jump the SF, they pop Global, I think he still dies. And on the second life, they have literally no chance of saving him. He's getting permabashed by the Slardar when he comes back up, so that kill was instant. You're going to see now they drop the Monkey King ult, and I think Amar turns back on him as well. Like, instant bash again. He didn't play.
The fact that he had the presence of mind to go outside the Wukongs to hit a couple random enemies to get the bashes up again, to be able to get the literal permabash is insane.
Yep.
Man,
clean.
So hard to play against that. As Tree Volley coming in. Boom. Oh, okay. Some damage gets the Avatos back into the pit. And they're going to get some form of revenge onto Amar. But they're going to need a lot more of that to get back in this game.
Well, they could at least claim a mid-tier 2. I don't think Amar is interested in going back for that unless OG do get a very clean setup once again, but maybe they're going to just try to defend it the aggressive way. They're pushing top, and they
initiated on. The sheep stick is there, and he is deleted.
They can actually force them back here. They can defend their tier 2 tower mid by pushing top. The OG have, or Gaimin Gladiators have to come back here. They're sending back the Underlord for now.
Forge Spirits won't be able to finish it off, although boom, he's going to get ensnared, and you can see Gaimin have already TP'd a couple heroes, so they don't have that many in numbers. Boundless Strike connects as well. Dyrachyo has to Requiem to try to zone away the rest of OG, but there's the Sheep Stick and the Meteor with the Mortimer's Kiss. There's so much fire destroying the Stone Man as BZM able to get his BKB off, but you can see the song being used, and now they're just going to focus down the BKB targets for the time being. So 2 dead in favor of OG. With the Wukong's command, Boundless Strike onto 2, and Gaimin are getting destroyed.
Oh, so clean. What an insane fight from OG. Everything landing perfectly. Man, great spellcasting synergy. The way they set up that kill on Tiny and take advantage of him not having BKB is just so clean, right? And Snare into the Scatter Blast damage so he can blink, into the follow-up from the Monkey King. Just so clean.
What's the worst that could happen?
And everything from Invoker. That's a good line for that moment.
Some positivity here is OG now going to the high ground, and obviously we can see there are a couple buybacks, but they're not going to be that impactful right now. As the fortification is popped, and this is looking like minimum 2 lanes, if not more. And again, when Shadow Fiend's back, he's going to have half the souls, so won't be as powerful as he could be.
Tower is under attack.
Scotty now picked up by Yuragi.
Are under attack.
That's 2 lanes. Now trying to go for the megas. Boom. He's going to get initiated on mid-tree volley, and look how fast he dies again. Scatterblast finishes him off. He does have buyback this time, though. But at this point, it's going to be mega creeps. As Gaimin, they're just getting zoned out by BZM, who has the delicious meatball surprise with that refresher. And the global silence is there.
Can't play. Like, he's literally just
He
not
just dies on the
able to
outskirts
do
as the
anything.
rest of Gaimin are stuck in their freaking fountain right now.
Dire's top
Good lord.
Dire's
OG, I think it's just the range racks on the top to be able to get those mega creeps as Yuragi pops the BKB. Boom, with a pretty good tree volley, but it's not enough damage at this stage of the game. As they're going to be able to finish off, and that's a dieback for Mr. Boom himself. And it looks like game 1 as GG's come out, go to OG in extremely convincing fashion. And I know we came in thinking OG would be the favorites coming in, and they're showing why here. They're able to play greedy with double Midas, and it worked out.
It did.